Okay, so I'll go ahead and show some of the gohog attacks on us. So they got three here on a Yaki. So they're running a gohog with a quad quake, as you'll see. This base Ayaki has is our most upgraded 9, and he started using this design one war where we took like 6 or 7 shots at this base and didn't flatten it. So it's a pretty good design overall. But you'll see here the power of the Go Hog attack starts like a typical Go Wipe, except you're not going to have any P.E.K.K.A.s here. But you get a couple golems coming in with wizards behind, bust through the outer wall. He still has 6 wizards in reserve, and he's only running 21 hogs. So when we run Jai Ho, that's typically 23 to 24 hogs. But Ayaki had a hound in the CC, which is a real pain in the butt, actually. But you're going to see here the first part of this attack. He'll probably end up 20-30% damage before he lets the hogs go. There he is. Actually, he's only up at 16%, but the golems and wizards are still running. So in this case, the hogs are kind of being shielded to some degree by the golems on this one. So the guy, he didn't have to drop the heal really quick. And now he's doing the rest of the hogs. So he does the hogs in 2 sticks. So this is how I actually used to run Jai Ho when I ran it. I was never a huge fan of that attack, but a number of our guys can run it well, particularly over in DC. I think right now in this war we ran Jai Ho 3 times and missed all 3 times. The problem with Jai Ho is if the healers go down quick, the attack kind of collapses in on itself. Whereas you can keep the healers alive, you can generally power through on that one. But as you can see right now, it's a pretty thin build. He's only got maybe 3 or 4 hogs left, so it's going to take a fair amount of time. So Ayaki's base held up fairly well, but not well enough. And I think I don't know if Ayaki had a double bomb. He did have a double bomb there in the center, and that's another reason to split your hogs, is they aren't in one pack coming in there. You want your golem wizard hero to kind of take that. So let's split down. Here's Jackal, and go ahead and replay this one. Exact same attack. So this is typical. Actually, same player. So the same guy who ran over Ayaki is about to run over Jackal. And here, instead of coming in from the right, he comes in from the left. And he doesn't have any wall breakers in this one. So on Ayaki, he needed a couple of wall breakers. So now he's kind of got the issues. Actually, pretty smart start. Obvious. He sends the wizards out first because Jackal has some outbuildings that need to be cleaned up. So there's no point sending your golems in while your wizards are cleaning up the garbage on the outside. So here he is. Now, in this one, this is kind of where I expected he would be. He's up close to 30% damage before he lets the hogs go. So you'll see this is the huge advantage of this. However, I don't know if he's tripped the CC yet. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, there's the hound. Okay, so that was kind of interesting. He basically came in from the side with the queen on it to get rid of the queen. Let the CC go until later in the attack. And now, this one, he may not even pop the hound on this one. So that's the thing with the hound versus these hog type attacks. The hound itself doesn't do a whole heck of a lot of damage. And you'll see these outcomes somewhat regularly. So dealing with hounds are a pain in the ass. But there's a number of ways to work around them. So here, so that was the number 9 player taking out our 7 and 8 player with this attack. Here, their number 12 players taking out our number 9 player. And we'll see if it's the exact same attack. Nope, this guy uses a variation. So this guy is going to run it, but he's going to run it without the quad quake. Okay, which is actually the way I would prefer to run this. So he's got a rage and a jump in there. Coming right in the top, we've got another hound in there. Hound splits, causes a bit of problems, but now we've got the jump. So this is really more like a standard go wipe with the hog kicker. So this is actually more in line with the attack I use to clean 9s. It's a variation. It's still a go hog attack, but it has more of the flavor of the attack I use to clear 9s. So yeah, mine, I have 2 rage, 2 jumps, 1 heal, less hogs, but roughly the same attack philosophy this guy was using here. He just has more hogs in the end. I only have like 5 hogs on mine when I do it. I throw a couple of pekkas in there. This one had no pekkas, and basically turned the pekkas into hogs for this one. That was the difference. Okay. Here's number 10, different player. Let's see what his build is. Okay. Yeah. So he's using the other version. So they seem to be saving the quad quake. Either for the more upgraded cities, or that just happens to be that one player's style. So here, that was actually a little bit bad on the golem deployment there. The golem was going sideways, so if you knew the golem was going to do that, you should have just dropped it right in front of that archer tower. And so 2 poisons, does have the dragon, the CC. Those poisons should be dropping now. They are. So here, once again, you're seeing a really nice start with the golem wizard portion of it, up over 25-26%. These are, like I said, the kind of numbers I think you want to see. I don't know if that was a rage or hero ability. I think that was a rage. So there you are. Yep, up to 30%. So you're kind of seeing, in general, that's what you want to do. So here, this is a bit more of the surgical hog deployment. Still has about half his hogs to go, bringing them in there in little dribs and drabs around the outside. I'm not a surgical hog player per se, so this is not how I run them, but we do have a couple guys that are good at the surgical hogs. They've played that for a while, and so you can see that there's reasonably 3 different ways to deploy hogs. The surgical hogs, as you saw, in small groups aimed at point defenses around the outside. Nice way to dance around the double bomb issue. You can do it in 2 sticks, like we saw the quad quake player do it. And then there's kind of the Chinese wall deployment, where you actually just deploy them along a line. Quite often you'll do that behind the your main attack group. So if it's a Jai He Ho, that they actually trail the giants. And then on this one, you could possibly have sent them behind the golems in a line and run them across here. But as you saw, these guys are running that. And here's Boken. So this is, I'm not sure if their 6 was, oh yeah, box space. Yeah, so they're not going to run the exact same attack here. So Bach has this weird base that we have run against a number of times. In general, when you see this layout, you want a lot of witches. That's the best I can tell you on this. This is actually very similar to the build I use to attack this. Sometimes I'll use a few more hogs here, but this is the basic idea. You clean all the garbage up outside, then whatever's left starts heading towards the middle, and that's when you send the hogs in with a heal. Get rid of the garbage in the middle, and bang, you've got it. Yeah, so that's a go wee wee with a couple of hogs on the back. and AMs they haven't got yet, but I think this was a gohog that didn't work. Yeah, it was. Okay, so this guy, let's see if he has, I think he has 2 golems. Um, but yeah, so he does. First off, trip to CC. Uh, I don't think that really gave him much from that. He basically just wasted a hog on that because then the hog just went over to the golem, so that was a mistake. He does get that cannon off of the side, and then sends the hogs in. They all converge right there. That's not a bad poison drop there. His second stick of hogs coming over, caught a bomb there, healed them. Fairly good heal drop. He could have dropped that a little bit more north or east. And here, the what hogs he has left just get pounded by the BK. So basically, his problem here was he left a hero alive. And with a spread out base like this one, I'm not quite sure how you attack it. They may be back later for this one. With this attack, I would probably look more towards the attack that we just saw on the prior base, where he came in with maybe 3 or 4 witches, rather than running the gohog on this base. And here's Swifter, number 11, taking that out. And so, oh, this one came in air. Interesting. So let's see. Trips to CC, just has some heroes, a little bit of fluff out there. Oh, he should have dropped the poison. That was a mistake, I think. Well, hard to say. Obviously, he cleared the city. So yeah, he's just going to walk him into the poison outside there. Okay. And then a Lavalunian attack. So 3 or 4 loons. Probably had or 3 or 4 hounds. Probably had a 4th one. So the trick with this, of course, is to get the hounds to pop. And actually had one that didn't pop, so kind of misjudged that a little bit. But yeah, it was another one. So he actually had 4 hounds. And in retrospect, probably could have done that with 3 hounds. Yeah, that's a different little mix there. And then Akoma, they ran hogs on him too. So yeah, that was a comment from Sarge in game, was he needs to get a couple double bombs. So there's plenty of room here for double bombs. So another trip to CC, got it going. In that case, it might have been justified to trip to CC, although really, I don't, I can't see how the golems could have got in there and not tripped it. So questionable as to whether that helped on that attack. But once he's done, you can see the 4 bomb locations there on Akoma's base. He doesn't have a double bomb anywhere, so very, very easy to hog. So he probably does need to rewicker them a little bit. Okay, so that was most of it on that side. On our side, not much going our way. So yeah, so Gavin, actually this wasn't a bad attack. This was a Jaihiho, so he typically runs Jaihiho, and it's a really volatile attack. That's why I don't like it. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it blows up, and there you saw he hit the double bomb, and that pretty much ended that attack. So clan, so this, you can see this base, it has 2 double bombs on it. So you got to figure a clan that runs gohog is going to have good anti-hog defenses, and sure enough, that's what they had. And let's see. See what Jackal's been running a hog attack also. Yep, Jaihiho. Similar results. So same thing, got the CC out. I think in his case, the healers got wiped out pretty quickly. And maybe that was Gavin's other attack. But here, so yeah, so he's doing more the Chinese wall deployment of hogs. And he still does have two healers, which, two healers tracking the hogs, which helps. He gets a little bit of traction there, but basically the skeletons in ground mode, another kind of feature that a lot of the hog clans like to do is they don't worry about air so much. And actually, this is a good takeaway from this attack. You really should at TH9 have all your skeletons in ground mode. Let's see if I can find Gavin's other attack here. I'm not sure where it was. It's Marshall. Yeah, I mean, really, I think Marshall just ran a scout there. Not sure that's the one I already. If that's one I already showed, or if there's another one in here. I thought he had two attacks in here. He'd already used two attacks, but I guess the other one was bettered by someone else. So yeah, it might have been Bach improved this one. So yeah, and Marshall probably just ran drags on that. He had a couple of drag attacks. Carter 6950. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, we haven't gotten a whole lot of traction on here. Chris came down, so I'll go ahead and replay this one. This was really close up. 11 typically is going to take out a 9, but as you can see, this 9 had seriously upgraded walls. It might have been, I don't really know what it was, other than maybe just the simply concentrated firepower or the spell mix. His hogs did really well. He had 7 hogs in the CC, and that's exactly how I run this attack. He ran it with a few more hogs than I do. I run with about 5. He had 7. The hogs took out a lot of the outside stuff. I think his adjustment on here might have been his warden just got up to level 5, and the warden does have a special ability that makes so the other units immune for 3 or 4 seconds. If he'd have hit that warden ability early in the attack, might have gotten a little more push forward early, might have done it, but that's that's within inches of picking it up. So I said nine's coming, or 11's coming down on a 9. You're going to get probably the 9 well on the high side of 95% of the time. When you miss, it's not going to miss by much more than that. So anyway, that's it. I'll go ahead and get this posted. Actually, maybe I'll show. I don't know if I want to show one more of these attacks, but the point, the issue here is we've been running a lot of air attacks up here, and they're just not. You can't run air against TH 9s and do much of anything. So here's one Swifter typically does run. Yeah, so this was not to trash Swifter particularly, but you could run this attack a million times from that compass point, and you're never going to get more than 1 star. I mean, that's all that's going to happen. There's no way to adjust anything. The reason is there's just so much air defense at TH9 level. The Drags 3 just can't do anything. He possibly could have gotten 2 coming in from the 3 to 6 o'clock range, but he'd have been going right into the sweepers. And might not have even got 2, might have got the town hall. So hard to say. You got a lot of stuff to eat through down there right at 6 o'clock. So with that and the Tesla back there, I probably would have sent my heroes in there, or sent something that could have survived to get rid of those big storages, then sent the drags in from the southeast side there. That would have gotten two. But I said, I won't even run drag 5 on a TH9 to clean it. I go with a ground attack. Akoma Ayaki has gotten a couple of cleans with drag 5. The only guy I've seen do it with a TH9 with drags 4 was Blade Master over in DC. And it was an absolutely perfectly orchestrated attack. But I think, realistically speaking, there's only about 5% of that's probably not that high. It's more like 2 to 3% of TH9s that you're going to see in war that you can clear with drag 4, and it's pretty close to 0%. I mean, maybe 0.1% you're going to be able to get with drags 3. So it's such a change in the game balance from TH8 to TH9. I think that's the issue. We get a lot of TH8 players who have success with drags at 8, and then they try and run them again at 9. It fails dismally. They don't start coming back until TH10, where you can reliably 2-star with them. The other use, even with the TH8 with drag slurries, is sending them up against a TH11 just to get 30 or 40% damage in a war where we're trying to win by the tiebreaker. So there's still use for drags, but realistically, TH9, the attacks I just showed you there are the ones that are going for 3 stars with this current update. And until we get a new update, we need to get attacks along those lines if we're going to be competitive